Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another speed build. Today we are going to be building in the Disney save. So you might have noticed that I have been a little bit lacking on the videos recently. This one in particular was supposed to go out last week and it didn't happen due to everything that's been going on in the world. Obviously, with isolation and self-quarantine and all of that, you have a lot of people home all the time, which is obviously something that has to be done, but it makes it a little bit difficult for someone like me who typically does work from home and is used to having time by themselves and having a certain level of quiet during certain periods of the day. But right now, I basically have people home 24/7, which makes audio work a little bit next to impossible. And I'm working on solutions for that, but it might cause a little bit of a inconsistent schedule for the next few days, and a lot of the stuff that I have been working on I have sort of postponed. But the thing that I am going to be working on behind the scenes is the Disney save. So I actually have this build. I have a creative sim that I can hopefully still get to you guys this week, because I know I want to try and provide content as like a distraction for everything that's going on, and I think it's super important right now. So I'm trying my absolute best. I hope you guys will bear with me if videos come back to back and then there's none for 5 days or there isn't any for a week. Just know that I am trying. I'm working on the Disney save most likely, and I'm always publishing things on the gallery. So this particular build has actually been live on the gallery for a few days now, so definitely check me out over there. It is down below. It is TomilynYT on the gallery. So definitely check that out if you're looking for Disney saves, sims, and builds. I also want to talk about something really exciting that I have started in the wake of this Disney save project. So this is taking me so much time. I can't even describe to you all of the stuff that I have in the works for this. I'm building a website. I am working on these new things called Disney cards, which are basically like little character bio cards that are really fun. I posted some over on my Twitter and on my Patreon, and I've got the save. You've got to do all the stats, all the builds, all the sims. It's becoming like a part of my life is completing this save file. And somebody had mentioned to me, you should make a Patreon for people who want to support the Disney save. And I definitely had thought about it, but I wasn't really sure if that was a good avenue to take. But I sat down and I really thought about it, and I actually think I have a lot of really cool stuff to offer. So I did post over on my community tab a little post to some of you, just letting you know that I had opened up a Patreon for the Disney save. And a couple of you actually joined, which I was so excited about. Thank you so very much. Your names will be included in my thank you to Patreons page at the end of the video. I was so surprised and just totally overwhelmed. I can't even remember the look and like the smile on my face when I first got somebody who was like so interested in supporting something that I'm taking on creatively that they would like do that. I just couldn't even believe that it was even happening. So really cool. But I also mentioned in that post that I really wanted to take an opportunity to talk about what I will be offering over on Patreon, so I am going to use today's video to do so. And as I just want to say for like a disclaimer, obviously if you can help and contribute and support the Disney save, I really super appreciate it beyond words, beyond anything that I could possibly say. It is so amazing to me that anybody would like support something that I am working on. So thank you for your consideration. However, I know that so many of you will not be able to do so, and that is okay. Literally just watching and subscribing and just being a part of the entire experience on YouTube is totally sufficient. Like, I'm so grateful to everybody involved across the board. But yeah, if you have the ability to contribute and support on Patreon, I appreciate that as well. So thank you for your consideration on that. I do want to explain what I've got going on as far as perks on Patreon. So I have 3 different tiers, and they go up in levels of obviously what I'm going to be able to offer to you, but I'm going to basically explain across the board. The big one that I'm doing, I am starting a Disney save Patreon only Discord called the Disney save. So that'll basically be exclusively where we can talk about the Disney save, Disney movies, any ideas that you guys have. I am going to throw like things that I want to do in there and get your opinions, story portions, and opinions on that. Basically helping me write the Disney save and being able to talk about it, being able to contribute directly. I'm looking for mods for that Discord server. It's brand new. I'm kind of new to Discord, so I'm really excited about that aspect. And that will be exclusive to my Patreons and basically like a direct line of communication to get into the creative process of the Disney save. As far as the tiers go, All tiers will have the ability to join the Disney Save Discord. I will also be providing Patreon-only updates over on Patreon, which will include concepts for speed builds, discussions on backstories for the various characters, first looks at whatever I'm currently working on. This could be like mood boards, sketches, draft versions of different Disney characters and personalities and backstories, screenshots, of course, of things that I am currently working on for the Disney Save. And then if you want to go one step up, I am actually making it the ability to have voting power. So I'm going to do exclusive polls where people basically decide what is going to be the end all be all, who gets to be included. If I have like a specific question, like I ran a poll the other day for that tier, and it was basically like, what age should the person who lives in this home be, and what reference should I use? Should I go from the one off of the live action movie, or should I try and use something from the animated version? And there's going to be like tons of stuff. I have tons of questions, tons of things that I want to know other people's opinions on, and that is going to be like the end all be all exclusive voting power to decide what's going to happen. You'll also be able to read anything that I'm going to put in the save before it's actually official and voice your opinion on that. If you think that I've chosen traits that you don't like for a particular character, or if you really have a super specific idea for maybe a job that a character should have, or some kind of a backstory that you would really like to see implemented, that will be available to you. And then the last one is something that I'm a little bit nervous to offer, but really excited as well. And that is going to be for my top tier patrons. Once a month, I am offering exclusive fan requests, which is basically going to be the ability to ask me to put something in the save file, and I will include it. So that could be a character that you specifically know that you want to see in the save, a specific build. The example I gave on the Patreon is, say you really wanted to see like the Toy Story or a Toy Story themed toy store in the save, you could ask for that. Or if you wanted to see Melody from The Little Mermaid 2 included in the save, you could definitely ask for that. And that's going to be once a month for my top tier patrons, for them to basically cash in and decide that this is something I really want to see. It will be kind of within reason if there's something that you are requesting that I can't currently implement, either because it's not going to fit in the world that I am in, or maybe I already have an idea for that character. We can definitely work something out, but I wanted to offer that for people who are contributing at the highest level, because I think that that is a really cool thing, and it's a cool opportunity. Like, if you really want your idea put into this entire save, you could have that implemented and then be able to download the whole save when it's over and look back on it and say like, oh, this is the build that I picked, or this is the sim that I wanted. And I thought it would be a fun thing to try out. So that is basically going to be the Patreon. I will have it linked down below. Again, thank you guys so much for your consideration on it. And anybody who can contribute at this time is always super helpful to me and to all of the time that I am putting into this. But moving on from all of that, I do want to talk a little bit about what we've actually got going on in the build today. So, if you didn't read the title, this is a home for the Enchantress. Now, the Enchantress is the witch that is from Beauty and the Beast, and in the live-action movie, her name is Agatha. So that is the name that I decided to go with. That is the version that my patrons actually voted for. So that's what we're going with today. So this is Agatha's house, and I really liked the idea that her home was sort of hidden. So she's in the village where the rest of the different houses for like the Belle's village folk are gonna go, but this one looks more woodsy up top. It's got like a cave, and it's more hidden away from the rest of the village. It's supposed to be a little bit secret. Like, you're walking by, you don't really notice too much of anything. It's like an old abandoned cave in some woods, and nobody really is feeling tempted to go strolling through there. Maybe because of magic, maybe because there's a spell on the lot that keeps people away and keeps people deterred from coming in. But if you did venture in and you went through the cave, you would see that it is actually Agatha's home, completely underground. Just how I think that she would like it, because in the movie, she's very much seen to the village as being more of a villain character, but we all know that she really isn't. She plays a large role in Belle's love story and in helping the town and the beast specifically see the error in his ways. So I put her as more of like a high ranking spellcaster, and she's very, very much content living completely on her own and away from everybody else, so she doesn't have to deal with a lot of the shenanigans that go on in the town. So this was just supposed to be her little oasis, very organic, taking in a lot of the natural plants, the underground feel with like the dirt walls, and a little bit of the exposed rock coming in here and there, which is from Jungle Adventure, by the way, those rock pieces that I have kind of scattered throughout. And then we get to use a lot of Realm of Magic, obviously. Her being our first spellcaster of the save, she has to have her broom, she has to have her wand, so I tried to pick all that stuff out and put it into her room accordingly, but it really wasn't supposed to be too much more than that. It's like a comfy little space for her and her cats. I did sort of forget the cats aspect until the very end, and I had to go in at the last second and start applying everything and doing all the things the cats would need, like the litter box and some food and stuff. So there are a couple of things that got changed around at the last second so the cats could have their best life. But there's also this one item, it's like a pole that cats can scratch on, and it sort of looks like a tree or a root that's coming through the ground, so that worked out really well. I ended up placing a bunch of those all over the place so that the cats had a lot of things to do, but also so that it even gives more of that organic feel to it. And when I started playing this, just to test it and everything, make sure everything is going okay, the cats immediately, that was the first thing they wanted to do, ran immediately down to that. I don't know if I mentioned this in this video, but I have already published this on the gallery, so I have been publishing builds and sims a little bit earlier than the videos are coming out, just because everything that's going on right now and my scattered schedule and me not being sure, quite frankly, if and when I'm going to be able to get videos out. I wanted to make sure that you guys still had builds and stuff to play with and new things to look forward to, so this has been on the gallery for a little bit. Definitely check me out over there if you want to have earlier access to some of the sims and some of the builds and stuff, but you won't get like the backstory. So for me to do the Enchantress create a sim and have the whole backstory for that and all of the cool little details that I've hidden into the character, you won't get that aspect until you see the create a sim, which I am hopeful that I will be able to get out this week. It will be a create a sim and a create a pet for the cats as well, which is really exciting. They're more like normal animals. They're not based after anything in particular, but I did give them a backstory as well. I have like a cool thing that I wanted to do with them. So, thought about it all pretty in depth, but yeah, that create a sim will probably be out later this week, but I cannot guarantee it with my schedule and everything that's going on, so fingers crossed, but just know that I'm working on stuff. I'm trying to figure out some solutions as far as getting videos done when I have so many people coming in and out of the house all the time, and it's not even just the fact that like people are home all the time, it's that when so many people are home, it can get a little bit loud in the house, so it ends up making like a lot of background noise. And even my neighbors right now are obviously home as well, and they're outside blowing leaves around and mowing their lawn and doing things, and it's all good. Like, everybody's supposed to be home right now, so it's not supposed to be like a negative thing, but it's definitely affecting me in that way. So just know I'm working on some solutions, and you'll probably be getting very, very scattered content, but I hope that that is okay. And basically the last thing to do as far as this build goes was to make the upstairs look like a little bit of a woodsy area. So I knew I wanted to do a cave. I knew I wanted it to look like it was a chunk of the woods or a forest that you could go over to, and to most people it would probably look like not much of anything, but if you know that it's there, you know that the house is in fact underground. So I wanted to build a cave completely out of rocks by building the rocks one by one and stacking them on top of one another, which is an idea that I've wanted to do for a while, but I've never had the motivation to necessarily try it because it is a very, very tedious process, and this build didn't actually take very long. I was able to get most of it done in one single sitting, which is very, very rare for a speed build for me, but this came very naturally. Everything was going super well. I loved how everything was turning out, except the cave. The cave was just a little bit difficult because you've got a lot of layering to do, and it has to look as natural as possible, and these rocks are really not made to stack on top of one another at all, so it was hard to make them look like they should be stacked on top of one another. I think I found a little bit of a happy medium. To me, It definitely looks better at night, but it's one of those things with game mechanics and whatnot that you really just have to deal with what the game gives you sometimes. So I did decide to cut that footage out just because it was super tedious and you guys probably don't want to see all of that, but that took probably the better part of 2 hours just to make the cave and make sure it was shaped 100% correctly. And then it was really just about trying to make the surrounding area look really filled, sort of overgrown, but at the same time have it so that your sim can easily move throughout, have a couple of key things that maybe the Enchantress would need. I knew I wanted like a well, a fireplace, some lanterns so that it's not completely dark at night, but I also wanted it to feel very closed off and sort of maybe unencourage other sims from coming to the lot. I think one of the lot traits that I chose was basically that like people wouldn't come here unless you invited them, which is very much how I want it to feel. So hopefully that works. Also some debug plants as well. The debug pond that is always a little bit tricky. Those ponds are so big and they really don't fit on lots like this, especially considering the direction I have the lot facing, and we are in a world where typically a lot like this would probably not fit super well. And in fact, this type of a build would have really worked a lot better deep into Windenburg, but I've explained to you guys why I've decided to put the village here. So hopefully the surrounding trees and being able to block everything off with lots of plants will give a little bit more to the feel. But it's probably important to note that I have seen quite a few people working on mods that change what the worlds actually look like. There's one coming out and I definitely want to try and do a review for it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to, all things considered. And it changes not Spooky Hollow, the world that comes with vampires, so that it looks like a Japan town. And it's supposed to, it changes the world map, it changes the icon, and it's supposed to change like the actual surrounding world so that it looks more like something from that region of the world. And if that's the case, I will be so excited. I will definitely be messing with that, making like world versions of things like that. And I'm really, really hopeful that maybe somebody will do some of the other worlds. Like, it would be so nice if this one in particular, Willow Creek, got maybe like a woodsy overhaul, take out some of the industrial things, take out some of the buildings, or if somebody just did like a fairy tale-esque version and replaced all the worlds with older style buildings, less buildings, just trees, caves, stuff like that. I would be so excited. I'm hopeful that something like that comes out, because that would be the truly like finalized form of the Disney save. And obviously, yes, it would include a mod and you would be able to use it without the mod regardless, because I'm still going to build around that aspect, but that would be like its ideal form. I would be so excited. So let me know if you'd like to see a review of that mod, some builds for that mod. I will, of course, probably make another video on it and explain a little bit more what I'm talking about. But that is pretty much going to be the end of today's video. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my Patreon to support the Disney save. Like and subscribe for more Disney save builds. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post. And I will talk to you all in the next one.